Okay, good morning, everyone. It's Christmas Day. Ah! I had my Christmas morning text with Rena. She called me babe. I said it's one of my favorite gifts, getting this message from you. Then I was laying in bed. I was thinking, I think it's my favorite gift. Made me super fucking happy. And I got some nice clothes. I got okay, well, I'm up here because I'm vegan, so if you give me something that's not vegan, I might give it away. Like, if no one's gonna eat it, I'll eat it because I love non vegan food. Now, do you know that pigs are killed with CO2? Do you know how CO2 kills you? It suffocates you. Let's just start with a really heavy subject, okay? Pigs are killed with CO2. It takes them a minute to suffocate to death. Well, not to death. They suffocate until they pass out, and then once they're passed out, then they get killed. I don't know how they get killed. They get bled out or something. Same with chickens. Extremely painful. It's called air hunger. It's the same as suffocating. Carbon dioxide is not the same thing as carbon monoxide. If you think about going in a car and putting a hose on your exhaust and then you just fall asleep, it's not like that. It burns your sinuses, it burns you, and you suffocate. And they pass out after a minute of freaking out and trying to escape. Okay, that being said, there's sausage downstairs. Probably more than can get eaten. Not that I'd want sausage, okay. I was thinking after I read all that about chickens and pigs, then I read how cows and sheep get killed. They just get shot in the head with a bolt. I thought I should get a ribeye steak. I should get a fucking ribeye steak and eat cheese. Go to fucking Domino's Pizza, get a pan-fried pizza, get garlic dipping sauce, and get a ribeye steak. Oh my God, I'd go fucking crazy. Could you imagine me after being vegan for over a decade, all of a sudden eating a ribeye steak and a Domino's pan-fried pizza? Then my grandma, she gets us all. She knows that if she just gets me something non-vegan, she wants me to break my water fast. I'm on day 7 of a water fast. She gets everyone this dip called Hella Dip, Hella Good Dip, and Ruffles chips, and no-name brand Ruffles, like, I don't know what they're called, crinkle chips or something. And a can of ice-cold Coke from the car. That would make me want to break my fast more than anything. Dipping a chip in Hella Dip, swigging a Coke, I'd go fucking crazy. Now they're all down, I'd go fucking crazy. They're all down there eating breakfast right now. I came up here to sleep. I couldn't sleep really. I woke up at 3 in the morning. But I fell asleep at like 6 or 7. So I think I got enough sleep. And then I went to bed at like 8 again. I know you don't care, but on some level, I'm not here to be a news reporter on psychology. I mean, because that's what our video is about. How to be sexually assaulted a whole bunch of times and not be turned on by it. Because we all know when someone sexually assaults you and they're ugly, it's easy to not masturbate about it later. But when they're a beautiful person who you'd really like to have sex with, then you really can't stop masturbating to it. And what does that do to your self-esteem? But I'm not here just to be a news reporter about the things I learned from ChatGPT and my own insights, mainly from ChatGPT. I'm here also just to tell you about my day. And so I went to bed like an hour before I woke up again to, like 8 a.m. I went to bed again. Had to sleep, then got woken up at 9 a.m. to have Christmas morning gifts. I got really good gifts. I got these track pants from my mom, which are Puma. I don't know if Puma is a gang stalking logo. I was like, is this a gang stalking thing? I got this sweater. It has flannel on the inside. Has deep flannel pockets, too. I got $50 from our tenant. And something else from her, too. What was it? I forget. I got like slippers. I got a gift card for $25 for Amazon. So, man, I am set. I got a big blanket. Oh yeah. Fuck yeah. And then I talked to Marina. I was like, I got so much good stuff. Got a nice message from her in the morning. I was going to FaceTime her with family, but, well, It didn't have to happen. I guess I was kind of nervous. I thought you probably should do this. You probably should FaceTime with. But they're eating breakfast now, and it might be too late. I was trying to fall asleep. I can't fall asleep anymore. So I'm on my 7th day of a water fast. I got a Terry's mint orange. I've never had that. I've had Terry's orange chocolate, but not mint orange. It's orange because it's the shape of an orange. They're normally orange flavored, but this one is mint flavored. It's not mint and orange combined. Mint and orange combined would not work well. So, anyways, why are you turned on when someone sexually assaults you? Well, for me, I'm someone who only can orgasm by being assaulted, like in general. I can count on like both hands the times in the last 20 years that I've had an orgasm without it being a fantasy of being raped or something. You know, I don't know. In the last 10 years, I'd say, I don't know if I said the last 20 years. Okay, in my 20s, that wasn't really such a thing. But after that, but right when I was like 14, you know, I saw this, you know, or younger, I can't remember, but it was like the first femdom porn video I saw. This guy is like trapped in somewhere. Maybe I shouldn't, I don't know if you're allowed to talk about this. He's like he's like tied up and his face is sticking out of a box and this woman sits on his face. And I was like, oh my God. Like, oh my God, like this is what I want. This is like, how did they know? Like, how did they know? This is like my deep fantasy that I never told anyone because it's so dirty. And they know. How do they know? Like, this is like speaking to my soul. So I've always been into femdom, like since I can remember, you know. And well, you know, not really. You know, that's actually started when I was like, you know, a while after I found porn, I found femdom. And you know, I saw porn when I was in like grade 3 or something. My friend's dad gave him a Playboy magazine or a Hustler or something. My dad has slept with a Playboy model, a Hustler model, and a Penthouse model. And so when someone sexually assaults you and you fantasize about it after, you humiliate yourself and you also get a validation from it. Because in order for them to play with your sexuality, it means that they're noticing you. And ego validation is a big thing of it, that they feel powerful, they feel in control, and for some people, an ego high conflates with sexuality. For some people, it's more violent. They're enjoying humiliating you, and they might not be so turned on. I said to ChatGPT, when someone sexually teases you non-consensually or sexually harms you non-consensually, is that because they're violent or because they're perverted? And it said it could be a mix of both, but sometimes it's more violent than perverted. Other times, with an ego validation, they want to feel like they're in control and they want to feel like they're desired. It could be tied to the feeling of being powerful makes them aroused. And so as the recipient of that sort of treatment, you think, oh, really? Me? I'm the one who validates you? I'm so important to you? You must clearly like me. That's an honor. Really, truly, it's no one says this, but it's a deep feeling that when someone sexually assaults you, you feel honored. You think, you must really like me. And especially if they're hot. And then you replay the fantasy and you go through it and you get humiliated and you feel dirty and disgusting. And you go, fuck, why did I do this? And then if you're fucked up like I am, because I asked ChatGPT, does going through abuse make you a genius? Not to be arrogant, I mean, but I have believed I'm a genius for some time. And I don't think I'm an IQ genius. I've done an IQ test online, and it was just pretty much average. And so I don't know if that counts. I don't know if it was like a valid IQ test. And so, but I think I'm a genius because there's different kinds of geniuses. There's like musical geniuses. But the way that I think I'm a genius is because I was sexually assaulted and strangled when I was 13. And not only that, I got blamed for it. Not necessarily did my entire family say this was your fault, and we all condone that you got strangled and sexually assaulted by a 30-something-year-old man when you're 13. They never really said that. I don't know if that's true, but that was the message I inferred. I got strangled, which was one of the most terrifying things in my life, and sexually assaulted, which really scared me, because he did it in a very scary way, too. Like, I guess it's always scary when someone does that. And so I believed it was my fault. So I went into deep introspection for many years, feeling tons and tons of guilt, trying to work my way around the guilt. And it took me a long time to figure out how to come to terms with what had happened. But for a long time, I had immense, crazy pain. In this room, as a teenager, I used to cry on the floor sometimes, just thinking how disgusting I am and how I'm so broken. And everyone I'd meet, I'd wonder, if you really knew how I felt, you would hate me. If you really knew how disgusting I feel, you wouldn't even like me. I was carrying the biggest secret in the world. No one has ever suffered like me. And so ChatGPT says, no, being abused does not make you a genius, but it can be a catalyst for your growth. It doesn't make you grow, but it depends on what you do with it. So supposing someone harms you and it makes you deeply introspective, or it makes you hypervigilant, what being abused will do typically, like to everyone, regardless of what they do with it, it will make you hypervigilant. It will make you extremely good at reading people's micro expressions. It will make you really good at reading the room, reading people's emotional tone. And it can make you really introspective too. But I think that is one of the optional things. Like, what does your reaction do? Your response to the abuse. The abuse is the catalyst. Your response to it is what happens to you. Do you become a fucking degenerate, or do you become a genius? And I think I became a genius in the introspection way, that I went so far inside of myself that I went even further than the people who abused me. No, I'm joking. I went so far inside of myself that I could understand myself more. I could understand people more, not in just a hypervigilant way, but not in just reading people's expressions way, but I became wise. I became able to understand the psychology of people. It went to a more grand way of seeing people. It wasn't just like, are you mad at me? I can tell, I'm looking. It was like, I can understand your psychology. And because I can understand my own psychology. And so I think that's how I'm a genius. I think I'm emotionally, maybe this is completely fucking retarded, okay? Maybe it's like completely fucking retarded. ChatGPT says a lot of people mistake their hypervigilance for genius, but it's actually just trauma. So, that could be true too. but I mean, yeah, that's fine. I can believe that. But so how do you not get humiliated when you fantasize about being traumatized? How do you not fantasize about being traumatized? Okay. You have a much stronger orgasm when you're abused. Can we agree on that? Why? Well, because dopamine, you get tons and tons of dopamine. Your brain prioritizes fear and danger. And so when you feel like you're in danger of being killed or something, your brain gives you tons of dopamine to make you more alert. So and the fear system triggers the sexual system. So you're extremely alert. They say people are never so happy as in times of war, because in war you're so alert, and it brings your awareness up, and it brings your ego up too. You're really powerful, and you're shooting people, and you're really at the forefront of your own experience. You're not thinking about last Christmas they treated me bad. Why did they say that? You're really in the moment, and you can never be happy again after you come home from war, because nothing is ever so intense again. So it's extremely exciting to be sexually assaulted, and especially if it's by someone who you would just love to get up in. Oh my God, I can tell you. And I almost cranked my Tootsie Roll last night. And right when I did, the gang stalkers were outside honking and honking and honking. Now you could see it from two perspectives. You could see it as them saying, don't do this. You're on a water fast. This is bad for you. You are going to regret this. We're trying to help you here. Don't do it. Or you could see it as harassment. For example, I had FaceTime with genitals. I showed someone my genitals on FaceTime. Totally legal, totally ethical. And yet there was honking outside. And other TIs I've heard report this. You have sex, they honk. Another time I had a sexy session with someone, and over Messenger. And then they had the gang stalkers pulling up outside, like we're watching you. So it could just be punitive. Like, you're not allowed to have sexy time. It's punitive. It could just be that too. They honked like 5 or 6 times last night when I was trying to have a hands-free orgasm watching porn. So anyway, I was basically trying to, I was going into some sexual assault fantasies, and isn't it so great? And oh my God, it turns me on so much. And then I asked ChatGPT about this because it became kind of ridiculous, or it felt like it was a cheat or something. It became normal, if that makes sense. I haven't jacked off in 7 days. And so I start remembering, oh my God, that person sexually assaulted me? Oh wow, they were amazing. They were like the hottest, they were like super hot. Wow. And then I thought, you know what? Their butt is pretty small. Why would I want their butt? Am I really, is this a trick? That's what I thought. Is this a trick? Why am I so into that person's butt? Is that even the kind of butt I like? Well, yeah, because it has the lines that go all the way to the outside. That's my favorite kind. If the crack is right here and the outer hips are right here, the lines under the butt cheek, I want them to go like this, all the way to the edge. That kind of butt really cranks me up. But yesterday I visited my friend in the hospital, in the mental ward. I brought him some apples. I said, I'm so sorry. I couldn't bring you restaurant food. I didn't tell him why. The reason why was because he was just too bossy. He's like, get me chips, I'll pay you back. Oh, and get me a photo bow. And he's just hammering on it. And he hammered on my mom too. He said, drop me off food. Because she's like, I can't visit you. I'm too busy. He said, just drop me off food then. And he asked her 2 times. And it was just like, it was too much. He said, I took you out for dinner, remember? I'm good for it. Come on, just get me food. And we already brought him restaurant food twice. And I just felt like, and I was water fasting too. And I said, I'll cook you a meal. He's like, no, I want meat. Get me photo bow. And so I was just like, I can't do this. And I went to visit him by myself. I drove, which, well, it's cool. It's cool to drive when you're water fasting. I drove for a few hours the other night while water fasting because we had to go pick someone up in our family who needed a ride, basically. We had to drive an hour at night in rough traffic. And I was fine, but it was like 6 p.m. at that time, 5 p.m. And So I had already drank a lot of water, so my blood pressure was good. Because you have to drink water to keep your blood volume up. If you don't have enough blood volume, you're going to be really fucking drowsy. You wouldn't know I'm on day 7 of a water fast if I didn't tell you. But the reason why is because I drink every minute. Like on my headphones, a beep goes off every minute. And when I hear that beep, I take a sip. I drink 12 to 14 of these per day. And I fill it up to here, which is 500 milliliters. So that's 6 to 7 liters a day, if I can get it in. Yesterday was a bit messed up because I went to visit my friend as soon as I woke up, so I hadn't drank enough water. I took one of these, but I ran out while I was visiting him. Then we went out in the cold because they have a sectioned off area that's like in a cage. And it fucked me up. I was like laying with my head down. I was like, oh, I'm fucked up. I'm fucked up. Oh my God. And I had to go. And he's like, I can give you water. And I was like, no, I can't drink that. He's like, don't be a pussy. I was like, I can't drink that. There might be chlorine in that. I don't know what's in that. I don't want to drink that water because it might break my water fast. I'm obsessive about this. This is Berkey filter water. It would fuck me up. I don't brush my teeth because I'm afraid of my gums bleeding and the blood going in my stomach, and then I would break my fast. I don't brush. It matters a lot to me to do it right. And so last night, had I jacked off, that would have been really bad. That would have been against the rules of water fasting. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. There was this bitch nurse. And she had a camel toe, nice ass, but gross everything else. She was hot enough, but she wasn't anything special. But the fact that she had a camel toe, and, my friend said I don't like her, and I was like, yeah, I could tell she's a bitch, but she has a nice camel toe. And, oh, God, I just scratched my leg, and now it's bleeding. What the fuck? It's like just a small, tiny part that's bleeding. Do you want to see? God, it's like a lot of blood. I don't want to get that on my new track pants. What can I use as a napkin? I'll use this paper. I'll blot it. Look at all this blood. What the fuck? And it's still bleeding. That's so stupid. Why would it just keep bleeding? Look at that. I'll bet there's gonna be more in a minute. Fucking hell. Is my blood too thin? Is water fasting thinning my blood like I'm on aspirin or something? Well, anyways, so I get to the hospital, and my friend, I say, you're going to be really upset because I only brought you apples. He says, that's cool. I don't care. He's like, I'm happy you're here. I was like, oh, okay. He had just got injected the day before, too. And he got the news that he has to stay there an extra month, and he was really upset. And so we had a nice visit, and so then I'm leaving. I see his mom, and I say, did you try and ignore me? Did you try and pretend like you didn't see who I am? She said, no, I would never ignore you. She said, I didn't recognize you with your facial hair. You look different now. And I almost said, well, you look different too. You shaved the side of your head. What's going on there? I don't like your new hair. Did you perm your hair? Your hair looks like you're an old person. What are you talking about? Why would you make your hair like that? I didn't say that. I didn't want to be rude. Okay, I had a nice conversation with her. I said, it's so fucked up in that hospital. She said she had him pizza. I don't like when people get pepperoni, but because obviously the pig thing, but she had pizza. I thought he's going to love that. I would have too, but she didn't seem to have a pop for him, which is fucked up, but whatever. That's cool. And she said, yeah, but when you're delusional and you can't sleep. And because he had framed it to us, his parents put him in there. His parents are villains. He's going to sue his parents, and they just tricked him to get him in there. And she, it kind of felt like she was saying, it's not, she probably knew that he told us that they had framed him or something. And I said to him, I bet they put you in here because they're afraid you're not going to get disability money unless they keep putting you in here over and over. And they don't want to have to live with you. So at least if you get disability money, you can have your own apartment. And he said, no, once you get disability, he's safe. He works too. He's a hard worker. That's the thing. Like, I think he's targeted. I told another girl in the ward who may have been a gang stalker, have you heard of gang stalking? And she went like this. Yes. And so we had a nice chat, and I told my mom, she really messed up with her hair. My mom says, did you know what happened? I said, no. She said, we were at the restaurant and we saw her, and I complimented her on her hair. And she said, it's actually a wig because she has breast cancer. Isn't that sad? Well, do you know what I would have liked to tell her? Because obviously I think I'm a genius too. Now here's how I think I'm a genius. Because I am good at maybe this is trauma too. Because I'm good at reading people, I can tell if you're lying. So when you talk to me, whether I trust you or not depends on how the vibes are from you. So when people say, you should eat meat, and it's really healthy for you, I'm not listening to the science of it because I'm a retard in that sense. Like, I can't do math. I got a good mark in grade 10 in math class. I somehow thought I could be good at math, but it's so stupid. Who would ever want to be good at math? You eventually learn, you forget how to count eventually. But I felt like I did it just to prove it to myself. Like, this is retarded. I could do this if I want to, and fuck you. That's kind of how I felt. The teacher afterwards, my grades dropped, and he said, "What are you doing? Why are you letting it go?" I was like, "I don't know, because it's fucking stupid. You fucking retard." And then another teacher shook my hand. He had a really fancy car, an Acura 2-door car. He was a funny looking guy too. He kind of looked like Mr. Bean. Not literally, but he kind of had that vibe. He was an odd looking guy. And I did a math problem on the test. I figured out how to do it like a different way than he taught us. And he shook my hand. He was like, that was like really great how you did that. I still only got a 70% on it. But I mean, he was impressed that I figured out how to do it a different way than he taught us on the spot too, which was something. But so like someone like Lauren, I could tell Lauren's a sincere, genuine person. So when Lauren talks about eating fruit, that's kind of how I knew how to trust him. And then so when I went to actually following his advice, eating fruit, it totally changed my life, totally made me alive. Like, it saved my life. I was like, oh, so this is how it feels to eat properly. I never knew. I couldn't imagine how you'd feel eating not properly until when you do. Like, you get fat, you forget even how it feels not to be fat. After you stop being fat, you say, my God, do you realize what you just did? You were losing half your energy to being fat. You literally had half the amount of energy from being fat. And you could have went your whole life like that. So I wanted to tell her, you have breast cancer? Cancer doesn't actually exist. When you eat cooked food, you're in leukocytosis. That means you have an abundance of white blood cells all the time. Why? Because you're eating cooked food. What happens when you eat cooked food? White blood cells go to your stomach. Medical science says we don't know why it happens. We know why they go anywhere else. It's because there's an injury. But when they go to your stomach when you eat cooked food, we don't even know. And when you have not enough white blood cells, people in the medical field say that's the problem. What if you just don't eat the things that poison you? But they have no idea about that. So because you're eating poison that doesn't digest, your food is dehydrated and it doesn't digest. If you want to dehydrate a chicken. You can boil it in water. Just keep boiling it, and you'll dehydrate it. And so because you're cooking your food, you're dehydrating it. And it doesn't digest. It gets stuck in your body. And so you have blood that takes your food from your stomach to your cells. And then you have lymph fluid that is most of the fluid between your cells in your body, obviously. And it removes the cell waste and it takes it to your kidneys. It takes it through your thoracic duct to your kidneys. And when you have cooked food that doesn't digest, it gets stuck in your cells and on top of your cells. It sinks back into the tissue it was emitted from. Your kidneys are there to get all the cellular waste out. But what happens when the inter and intra means inside and inter means outside? Or is it the other way around? It's one or the other. When your kidneys are clogged with shit, where is your shit going to go? Where is your cell? Are your cells just going to stop shitting once your kidneys can't filter out any more shit? No, it's going to go out your skin. It's going to go out your lungs. You're going to cough up phlegm. You're going to get acne. You're going to get smelly pussy. You're going to have discharge out your pussy. You're going to have white tongue. It's going to come out your mouth. It's going to run out your nose. And when you're totally backed up and your lymph fluid is full of shit that you can't digest, it's going to leak out of your lymph fluid into your blood. And the blood's going to push it back into your cells. And what happens when you suffocate your cells with shit? Well, your cells start acting fucked up, like what they call a virus, which doesn't exist. And if you ask, why can't I see a virus? I want to see a video of a virus. The reason you can't is because they say that a virus is so sensitive that even filming it would destroy it. That's what ChatGPT told me. I know no one even can get their head around that. The viruses don't exist. You're so brainwashed that you couldn't even imagine that. But if you wanted to figure out, why can't I see a video of a virus? That would be the answer you would get. But viruses are inferred. Fucking retarded inference. So your cells start multiplying and dividing. Multiplying and dying, I mean. At a faster than normal rate as they're being destroyed by suffocation. And eventually it turns into what they call cancer. And then they microwave you after that. They say, we'll just microwave you as if you put a piece of steak in the microwave. What are you doing when you microwave someone? Why does it shrink a tumor if you microwave them? If you put a piece of steak in the microwave for 2 minutes, how much does it weigh when you put it in versus how much after? You're cooking you're cooking it. You're fucking cooking the water out of it. And these retards say that you cook the water out of your tumor, that means it's shrinking. Are you fucking insane? Okay, so I wanted to tell her this. Check out Lauren Lockman on YouTube. How do you just start turning into the snooty professor and just tell someone, let me educate you on cancer here? How do you do that? You know, they're not going to, well, you're not a doctor, and yeah, fuck it, whatever. Doctors are not smart. My dad is really smart. He told me doctors are smart. But Lauren's really smart too. Lauren doesn't have as high IQ as my dad, but Lauren's like, doctors are stupid. I agree. Doctors in general, there might be exceptions here. I don't think you have to be a smart person you just have to have a good memory to be a doctor. Okay, so check out my leg now. Ugh, well, I've met some fucked up doctors. Look at that, the blood is drying. Ugh. So I wanted to tell her this. I really care about her. I like her. You know, my friend, he told me, I'd have sex with your mom. I was like, yeah, I'd have sex with your mom too. You know, your mom and dad are good looking people. We're actually good looking people. Our whole family, we have good genetics. We're good looking people. You know, we're good people over here. But I didn't know she was wearing a wig. I wanted to say, are you going gray on the sides? And you shaved the sides of your head to hide that you're gray? This was a big mistake. Shaving the side of your head and just having hair on the top and perming it? You look like an old person. What are you, crazy? You had nice hair before. Well, I didn't say that. We had a nice chat. I went home. And then it was Christmas Eve. And then I went up into my room to crank off my little pecker. I had seen this this kind of hot nurse, this bitch nurse in a camel toe. And I thought, oh my God, I was turned on or something. I got really turned on. And then I started watching porn and imagining being sexually assaulted. And I went, oh my God, this is making me feel like I'm coming. Ugh, so close. And oh, another wave. Oh, I feel even closer. And then another wave. Oh, and then it plateaued. I don't know if you've ever done Kegels so much. The times I've done hands-free ejaculations, it's been with rhythm. And I've used my foreskin restoration device too, which kind of counts. I'd challenge you, if you're like, well, it doesn't count. I'd challenge you, try wearing a foreskin restoration device and doing it yourself. Because I had tried many a times with my foreskin restoration device and couldn't do it. But when I could do it, it was about rhythm. Once I found the rhythm, it was contract, release, wait just the right moment, then contract, then release. And somehow I lost the rhythm. I was just like, contract, contract, contract. I think I did it once, though, with one contraction, just one long contraction where I actually did it. And that required a lot of mental alignment. Where you know how you say yes, 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 but somewhere in there's a no. Something too taboo comes up. Something you think, that's not me, that's too much. Those thoughts came up and I said, yep, those are good too. We're going with it. We're going with it. And it was like, whoa, it's actually working. It's actually working. And I went all the way. But last night it was more mechanical, I think. Or I just wore myself out too much. I was really trying hard on these Kegels, just Kegeling so hard and feeling pretty close to it sometimes. But then again, you think you're close, but then you realize you have quite a ways to go sometimes. And after I plateaued and kind of lost my boner, I started thinking, is this really that exciting? Because when I was walking out of the mental ward, there was a woman with the ass cheeks that went like this, all the way to the outside. It was one of the best asses I've ever seen. It was exactly the type I like. And, you know, I like wide hips too. Like if your creases don't go all the way to the edge of your legs, that's okay if you have wide hips. And so I was like, why am I not masturbating to that woman I saw outside the hospital? Why am I masturbating to someone else with similar ass who assaulted me? Why is it turning me on so much? This seems a bit ridiculous. This seems like a trick. So I start asking ChatGPT about it. And I say, do I really need to be assaulted to have a good orgasm? I mean, yeah, it spikes your dopamine so much, and it's totally, although it leads to humiliation and feeling degraded and self-esteem problems, it's super exciting. Do I really need to be fucking raped to have an orgasm? It says no. You don't. There are many ways you can do it. You can do consensual bondage. You can do consensual teasing. You can do lots of things. Wrap someone in saran wrap or something. I don't know. I didn't say that, but I heard that on the Sunday night sex show with Sue. This show I used to watch when I was like 12 or 14. It's this woman who talked, she was like 60 or something. She talked about sex in a very scientific way. But she said, like, you should be holding her breasts if you stimulating her nipples. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Sunday Night Sexual Sue, but she was very educational, and I wasn't allowed to watch that show. When people found out I was watching it, I thought it was quite educational, really. It wasn't pornographic or erotic. It was really great. And so it says, no, you don't. There are many other ways. Then I say, okay, well, if I can get the same amount of arousal without the humiliation, without the low self-esteem, without feeling, because what happens is after I crank off my pecker, I feel guilty. And what I think happens is I misattribute the humiliation of being not only assaulted, but of fantasizing about it, of saying, thank you for assaulting me. Thank you so much. Please let me just bow down to you. Please let me get under your feet. I guess that's where it comes from, the foot fetish perversion. Like, put your feet on, trample me, humiliate me, make me feel disgusting. And I take that disgusting feeling and I say, it's because I did this and this and I'm a bad person, and my guilt complex comes up. And I totally didn't want to feel like that. And last night, for the first time, I thought, I think I'm misattributing the humiliation and the real guilt of degrading myself, of treating myself disrespectfully, with the guilt complex that has been put on me that I don't actually deserve. And it's actually fucked up for me to degrade myself and fantasize about someone who has assaulted me, who I wouldn't fantasize about if they didn't assault me. I'm not really that into them. And I said to ChatGPT, can I ever get over it? What do I do? Do I give myself cognitive behavioral therapy and say, this is just a trick? They're just tricking me. They're just spiking my dopamine. They're just activating my entire nervous system with fear, making me feel loss of control, that they're in control and I'm not in control. And so therefore I'm aroused, but technically I don't really like them. So I just give myself cognitive behavioral therapy and I literally say to myself, this is a trick. So don't fall for it. I don't really like them. It's just a false feeling. ChatGPT says, yes, that is what to do, but that's only step 1. Step 2 is also critically important. Don't ruminate on it. Don't fantasize about it. Don't masturbate to it. Because if you do that, you're giving it anchoring. You're giving it leverage. You're anchoring it to a sense of importance. You're saying being humiliated and being traumatized is really important. And it's linking up your sexuality with being humiliated and feeling like a dirty, disgusting, perverted, low self-esteem loser, which totally I do or did. Now I'm kind of getting it. And I'm fantasizing about it and I'm going, oh, it's so good. It's so good. And the more you do it, the more it links up. And so it's harder to quit. And for the abuser, it's hard to quit too, because they're getting a power trip off it too. They're getting aroused off it too. It's seriously exciting for them too. And as the victim, you know it, and you go, oh my God, I bet you're so wet. Fucking, oh my, I shouldn't have said that. Okay. But I mean, yeah, you get really excited. Okay. I'm getting a little excited right now. But I'm not indulging in it, But that was a mistake to say that. I did accidentally go there, but sometimes, it's good I went there, because sometimes the fantasies will come up by accident too. And at that point, you have to reframe it. You kind of get stuck in the ditch. You have to reframe it and you have to get out of it. So you don't think about it. You don't indulge it. You don't give it weight. And you remember you can have just as good a sexual experience without it. You can get just as much dopamine without it too. And so that was like the blessing, that was like the blessing that I had, that, I can have just as exciting a time and I don't have to feel like a fucking disgusting person. Great. And I noticed it. I was laying in bed, starting to think about, her ass. Oh my God, her ass. Whoa. I just, going into it. And instantly, I felt like a retard. I felt worthless. I felt like humiliated. And of course, when it arouses you, you think, well, who cares? I gotta get my nut. Who gives a fuck? I gotta get my nut. Oh, I just can't stand not getting my nut. Anything for my nut. I don't care about being humiliated. My brain doesn't prioritize self-esteem. It prioritizes safety. And of course, if someone has way more power than me and they're giving me this risk-reward cycle that they're putting me in danger and then they're giving me a reward after that, just relax. You can just ease your tension. Let's build your tension up and release it. Just ease your tension. It's fine. I'll like you more if you do it. And you're like, yeah, I kind of want to do it too. It's great. You have this, who cares about humiliation? Who cares about how I'll feel later on in the day? I don't care about any of that. I'm in a completely different mode. I'm not in the mode where my regular cognition has anything to do with this. I'm in a different mode now, where the only thing that matters is getting my nut to that thing that I'm fiending for. And so I start thinking about that, and I'm like, remember, you're not supposed to do this. So I go out of it. I just go, okay, not doing it, not thinking about it. I remember it's a trick. I remember there are asses that are just as nice without the sexual assault. That's the thing that lets me let go of it. Because I'm not about to let go of it if there's not something equally good to replace it with. So I go, there's something equally good to replace this with. So I can let go of this. There's something equally good to replace it with. So I can let go of this. So as soon as I let go of this, I shift in to a different psychology, to a different personality, a personality that has pride and self-respect. And I go, now I feel better. Now I feel way fucking better. Now I feel like I'm not hurting myself. Now I feel like I'm respecting myself. Now I like how I feel. I like how I feel now. This feels better. Now I feel cool. I listen to music. I go, yeah. I don't know if music ever does that to you. It makes you feel spiritual. I'm like, yeah, like I really feel connected. I feel like a higher high than sex almost. I feel maybe that's not possible, but in the moment, I think this is better than sex, how I feel. And if I combine this feeling with sex, I think it's possible. But to combine this spiritual feeling with traumatized sex, I don't think it's possible. This is the feeling that I want to have sex in. It's not the feeling of being traumatized and humiliated and degraded. And if I can have sex as this person, that's the real way to do it. Bingo! I was like, yep, you figured it out. Thanks, ChatGPT. I also said to ChatGPT, is it possible to be constantly under a threat of danger, like as is with gang stalking, and still be not fucked up? ChatGPT, it doesn't acknowledge that gang stalking exists, but it also doesn't acknowledge that 9/11 was an inside job. It does acknowledge that 20 to 30% of the American population trusts the government. I thought, I said, how many people are gatekeepers, authority? Doctors, lawyers, judges, cops. What percentage of the population? It said 1% of the population are gatekeepers. It made me wonder if 30% are confidential informants. If, the occultist number 3, if it means that a third of the population are the occultists. It said, if you are constantly traumatized, you are always going to have a nervous system that's fucked up. Your nervous system is always going to be in fight or flight mode. It has to do with the amygdala. It said something else. I said, what about Osho? People tried to kill him. He was targeted by the government. And ChatGPT said he's an outlier. He's not necessarily bypassing his nervous system. His nervous system still could have been scrambled, but his point was that meditation goes beyond the body. So if you're enlightened, you went beyond your body. So your body can be in a state of fight or flight, and you can still be enlightened. And that might not be normal, but it's at least a precedent that Osho has set. So that kind of makes sense. Like, Osho died very peacefully, and Osho has seen everyone die in his town. When he was a kid, anyone was dying, he would go watch them. And did you know an elephant dick is 6 feet long? Do you know a bull dick is 2 feet long, but it's only as thick as a human dick? I mean, we have this dog visiting who's chewing on a bull dick. I don't know if you know that a chew toy for a dog, a bone that they chew on, is a dried bull dick. That's a real thing. I was saying it's so skinny. Why is it so skinny? It's so long. It's like, it's as skinny as this board, and it's 1.5 feet long. After it's dried out, of course. And I said, what's the animal with the biggest dick? I forget the name of it, but ducks have huge dicks too, and rats and rodents. And Osho had seen so many people die. He said the thing that they all have in common is they all orgasm right before they're dying. And so Todd had killed some kind of animal, like I forget what it was. It was it may have been a mouse or something. So I walked over to it to watch it die. I think it was a rodent. I think it was a mouse. I thought, man, look at the dick on this thing. This little fucking carrot dick. Huge dick on this thing, but it had a boner. I thought, I bet it's orgasming. Osho says it's very needed to see an enlightened person die. It'll help you a lot if you can witness an enlightened person dying. How easy they go through it. A lot of enlightened people would do handstands while they die. They'd say, how should I die? Should I stand on... I'm about to die. Should I stand on my hands? Do a headstand? What posture should I die in? When Osho died, he was sitting up. When my great-grandma died, she was sitting up. We found her on the couch. Now, if your body is dying, clearly you're in a lot of distress. We can say that dying is pretty stressful. You're probably going to be in a lot of fucking stress. Your body's going to be like, no, I don't want to die. Your body's probably going to be saying that. But as the enlightened person, you can die like it ain't no thing but a chicken wing. And so I haven't seen Osho dying, but as he was dying, his doctor, who is pretty nice, he's a lovely guy. He's a lovely guy. I've seen him talk. He talked about what happened, and he was crying, but when he was dying, according to his story as well, he was crying with Osho, and Osho's saying, "Don't cry. That's not the way." And Osho, of course, has cried too. But in this context, I don't know the context, but he was saying, don't cry. That's not the way. I kind of feel that this doctor was too much crying. Like, when you cry when you have to, it's good. But when you cry with just the intent of being a sap, I don't know. Osho said to celebrate death. Maybe that's why he was saying don't cry. I really don't know, because Osho really says express your emotions too. You know, he did therapies where you would just cry and you would get angry and you would express all these repressed emotions. So I don't know the meaning of him telling his doctor not to cry. But he's saying don't cry. And they're offering to resuscitate him, and he's saying no, it's fine. He died when he was 60 after being poisoned with thallium by the Ronald Reagan administration. And he's sitting up dying, and his doctor's crying, and he says, put a new air conditioner in this room and remarble the floors. And then, and I'll be here. And then he dies. And when the doctor's telling this to the sannyasins, as he's saying, I'll be here with you after I'm dead, right at that moment, a chicken goes, it makes a noise and everyone laughs as if Osho had inhabited the spirit of the chicken. So clearly, you could be enlightened. Osho said living in his body was hell. You know, they made him blind, they irradiated him, they poisoned him, and but he was enlightened. So he had went beyond his body into his awareness. And so maybe your nervous system is always going to be fucked up. You're always worried of getting gassed. You're always worried of someone's jump scaring you with a horn, sleep depriving you or whatever, you know, harassing you. And you know, things that are potentially dangerous. But you could at least be enlightened because Osho is the proof. So that's cool. That's fucking good to know. If you think it's all hopeless, well, Osho was targeted, and he was great. Like, he had a great life. I've envied Osho so much. Not really envied, but I wanted to be enlightened. Okay, I think my leg is dried now. Ugh. Okay, well, I think that's about everything we have to talk about. I got $50. Did I tell you I got $50 for Christmas too? And a nice blanket. I bought a new neck mount. My neck mount for my camera got broken. I thought someone broke it, actually. Suddenly it just stopped working. We had a whole bunch of spoof phone. The last video I made, I got punished for that. I talked about getting assaulted when I was 13. And they harassed me for that. They honked outside. They did a spoofed phone call. And then my neck mount suddenly was broken. Could have been wear and tear, but it could have been that someone actually broke it. So I had to get a new neck mount, which was like $29 or something. But I had a $25 gift card for Amazon that I got for Christmas. Plus I joined Amazon Prime again for 7 days for 99 cents. Really awesome. So I'm thinking of getting a Bluetooth receiver for my headphones so I can listen anywhere with my iPad. I forget which one I'm going to get, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm even going to get that. But it will be exciting. But I have like a good chunk of money. And right now I'm making this video too because there's so much hella good dip downstairs. I should treat this like sexual assault. I don't even want to go into it. I'm not going to break my fast, but I thought, yeah, Marina was telling me, break it. Break your fast on Christmas Day and then just do it again. I said, thank you so much. You know, thank you for allowing me to do the fast without saying you're going to be too skinny and I won't like you. So she was really saying, enjoy yourself. It was a very loving comment. I said, thank you. That gives me permission to do it. And, you know, if she didn't give me permission, I probably would have done it anyway. But I would have been really worried. And maybe I wouldn't have done it, but I don't know. I would have thought, I'll bet she'll still like me. And if she doesn't, I'll gain the weight back and then she'll like me then. So thank you for giving me permission. And I was thinking, my grandma, she wants me to break the fast. She knows if she just gets one dip of hella good dip, I'm just going to give it away to someone who is going to eat it. But she gets hella good dip for everyone. We all have hella good dip. She gets like, everyone gets chips and hella good dip. So it's going to be too much now. Plus extras. No one, they're not going to eat all this hella good dip. And now there's a fucking ice cold Coke. And I could just get a Ruffles chip and go, oh, I'm just going to break my fast. So I had to do something creative. I was like, get me out of here. This is fucking tempting me right now. So fucking that ice cold Coke, but don't think about it. Okay, treat it. Don't train your physiology to react to that. Okay, don't indulge that fantasy. So I said, I'm coming here, and you know what? Marina told me not to do the fast, but eventually she said, do the fast if you want, but just don't do it on Christmas. Obviously, eat the good food on Christmas. But everyone in the family, they're like, don't do it. I'm like, I'm a fucking genius, don't you know? Do you think I don't know what I'm doing? If you don't even know how much smarter I think I am than you. But anyways, so I have good relationships with everyone in the family. I'm water fasting. I feel I'm physically fine. I have enough blood volume. But importantly, how's my relationship with Marina? Perfect. 10 out of 10. How's my saving money so that she can visit or that I can visit her? Perfect. 10 out of 10. How am I meeting my responsibilities? Yeah, well, I was going to jack off last night. That would have been a big mistake. But again, I was in trauma mode. What did I do with the trauma mode mistake? I went to ChatGPT. I realized I can get just as aroused without the sexual thrill of being assaulted. Which, had I not been fantasizing about being assaulted, would I still have wanted to jack off on my water fast? Now, I never told you this, but the last time I broke my water fast, I blamed it on the come down from LSD. But do you know what I did before I broke my water fast? I jacked off. And then I said, it's all hopeless. It's all worthless. Jacking off would have had huge psychological effect on me. And physical effect too. You're losing sodium, you're losing your electrolytes. You're not supposed to jack off on a water fast. So it was the trauma. It would have been the trauma that got me. I even was aroused by the people honking. I was thinking, I'll bet the person who sexually assaulted me is watching this, masturbating to it. That turned me on even more. And here's the proof. Look, it's basically like them honking. So, fortunately, I wasn't able to do the hands-free orgasm. And I went to learn about what's the alternative to this? And how do I not feel so dirty? Because I knew when I was doing it, I'm going to feel disgusting after. Remember, you're not going to like how you feel after this. You're going to feel guilty and scared. Do you want to feel guilty and scared? Like you're hiding the fact that you're a bad person? That's how you're going to feel. It took me fucking hours to get out of that mindset. I felt dirty and disgusting. Suddenly I felt like I couldn't talk to Marina. I felt like I'm a fucking dirty fuck. I'm a dirty pervert. She wouldn't like me. That's how I felt. I was so far away from talking about her in that psychology that I went to. It took me hours to get out of it. And then I heard the magic words. You can get just as turned on without the sexual assault. And you can do that by realizing that your reflexes are plastic. So give yourself the cognitive behavioral therapy, the CBT, not the cock and ball torture, but the CBT. And give yourself the refraining from fantasizing about it. Now, could I ever refrain from fantasizing about it? No, obviously not. Until I realized there are asses just as good, people just as hot. Why do you have to be aroused by them? Oh, because it's dopamine, because it's extreme and it excites you, but you can get just as excited without it. Don't you want to feel excited without it? That way you don't feel like a fucking loser. That way you can get having sex more. How much sex can you have if you feel like you're unworthy? So, yeah, I was like, okay, I can refrain now. I got out of that mindset. And even when you're not in that mindset and you're just fantasizing and indulging about something nasty, it's not healthy. If it's like, oh, it's a victimless crime. No, you are the victim. Don't you get it? Don't you have self-respect? Don't you realize that you are victimizing yourself? Like, don't you fucking get it? And I feel like it's the same with this water fast. I've wanted to do this water fast for so long. Like, do you know how upset you're going to be if you eat that hella good dip? You're going to be fucking hella upset. So I'm happy about this. And without the trauma bond fantasies, I'm pretty sure I can refrain from masturbating and porn throughout the duration of my water fast. I have, I think, 14 days left of my water fast at least before I can break it and get rid of all this old stuff in my stomach. I have 1 day left before I get to the longest I've ever been. The longest I've ever fasted was 8 days. And then on the 9th day, I fasted for half the day. So 8.5 days, I guess, or 9.5 days. On the 9th day, halfway through, is when I broke my water fast. So tomorrow is kind of a precedent day. And I guess the day after it will be the true precedent day that now I'm really going longer than I've ever been. And that's exciting too. To be doing it for the first time is exciting too. And last time I was doing it sipping every 5 minutes. This time I'm doing it sipping every 1 minute. It's different. It's better this way. Okay, well, Merry Christmas. I hope that, whatever. Like, I don't really have any hope for you, but I hope you like my videos, I hope you enjoy my videos. I think you do. I think it goes both ways. I enjoy making them, so I assume you enjoy watching them. That makes me happy. Again, I don't check comments or anything. If you like the video or comment, I don't even see it. So just 'cause, there's too many people who tell me to kill myself and fuck with me, and so I just stopped checking my comments. But I leave the comments open so people can maybe one day I will go through and check them. But these days it's just too hard for me to do it. So I'm in my safe space. Anyway, Merry Christmas and goodbye.